Hey, Carl. Yo, what's up, Rich? Hey, Carl, what time is it? It's time for Travels with Carl, baby. Let's roll. Let's ride, Carl. Hey, what's going on now? It's time for Travels with Carl, baby. Welcome back. Now, if you're not sure what Travels with Carl is, let me straighten it out for you. I'm sitting in Carl. Carl is a 31-foot Alumilite motorhome. Hey, let me turn this exhaust fan out, man. It's a little bit hot in here when I got over here. I just got here a minute ago. Whew. It's a little bit warm up here in Seattle. Anyway, I'm Richard Van Gogh. I'm a lifelong artist. And this is Carl, my motorhome. Carl is an Alumilite. He's got a Chevy 454 big block engine. He's a beast. And Travels with Carl, well, you might think it's a travel channel. And I guess in a way it sort of is, but I kind of see it more as a metaphor for traveling through my life as a fine artist. Now, I grew up and knew that I was an artist when I was a kid. I don't know. It's just one of those wacky things that just happens in life. I mean, at least in my life. Anyway, I got a BFA in film and video way back when in 1983. I started at Philadelphia College of Art, the city of brotherly love. And then I transferred to Oakland, California, not the city of brotherly love. And I finished my BFA there in film and video. Took a bunch of years off, continuing to do my artwork, continuing to survive and work different jobs to keep my roof over my head and food in my refrigerator. Keep my family fed, as they say on the Beverly Hillbillies. And then I went back to school later in life and went to Pacific Northwest College of Art in Portland, Oregon. And I got a master's degree in fine arts in printmaking and print media, bookmaking, all of that stuff kind of folded into one. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about Carl, because this is really mostly about me. Carl, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but Carl's sort of along for the ride, But I lived in Carl for a year in an RV resort place, actually two different RV resort places, because you're only allowed to stay there for 6 months at a time. And saving up money to buy a house, and I did. So I bought a little house, and this is Carl's gated community right here. This is where Carl lives, in this parking lot. Pay his rent. Carl doesn't have a job right now. Anyway, I do. I'm not telling you what it is, though, because that's a tasty beverage. Every week on this show, which will consist of 52 original episodes, I talk about one of the many jobs I've had in my life. And there's more than 52 of them, okay? So one episode, probably episode 53, will be didn't make the cut episode, for jobs that didn't have a good enough story, or were just boring, or I worked there for too short of a period of time for them to have any meaning whatsoever. So anyway, that's what it's all about. So I thought it was kind of a unique idea for a YouTube channel because, as an artist, I've never made a project that I know in my mind when I started it's going to take a minimum of a year. And the reason I say a minimum of a year is because right now what I'm doing, the YouTube, that's like 1/5 of the project, okay? the other parts are, it's going to be every week I do a painting of the job, okay? And I write a short story. And what I'm doing right now is just off the top of my noodle. If you watch a couple more episodes, this is episode 42, by the way, Skycap, Sarasota International Airport. Like that. I say what the job is, where it was, when I did it, and they're all in, it's in chronological order. So we can start at episode number 1, TNR Deli. And I recommend it if you're going to binge watch. Start at the beginning, okay? It'll make a lot more sense. Anyway, I do a painting of that job, or an illustration, and then I do a limited edition print and an open edition print. The open edition is not signed and not numbered, and that's available on my website. And every single episode, I plug my website, I plug my book, and I plug this channel, okay? And I usually ask for help. If anybody out there is good with YouTube or has a big channel that's blowing up, yeah, I need some help, and I'll pay you, okay? You don't have to be good at everything, but if you can make this channel grow, I'll split the commissions with you. You know, I'm not saying 50-50, but we'll figure something out. Anyway, if you're good at this and you like my channel and you like what I'm doing, shoot me a DM, okay? So, I talked about the print. The limited edition print will be signed and numbered. Everything that I do is archival quality, okay? Even my open edition prints. And they are available. Well, let me finish this. So then I write a short story, and then at the end of the year, all of that art and all of those short stories are going to be compiled into a hard copy book, a hardcover book. I guess it'll be available in soft cover and Kindle too, why not? But it may not be available in Kindle because it may not end up being on Amazon. I published this book in 2017, and it's on Amazon, and the problem with that is that then you can't sell it through bookstores because Amazon won't sell it to them at cost. And so, I mean, or at, you know, at a resale price, so that doesn't work for booksellers. Anyway, that now you kind of have the gist of it. So we're working towards a finished quality, high quality, like a coffee table book that's going to be called 52, aka Travels with Carl. So you can now kind of get the idea that this project combines everything, well, almost all of my artistic skill sets, you know, from painting and printmaking to film and video and, you know, and acting, okay? Oh, that felt good. It's good to be over here in Carl too, I'll tell you that right now. And today's episode is brought to you by Karcher pressure washers. Karcher. When you got to clean something heavy duty, man, go to Karcher. Clean it up. Oh, check this out. After pressure washer, before pressure washer. Oh, that's gnarly. All right, I'm back. Hey, check this chair out. Pretty cool, huh? I had completely removed this chair to get it reupholstered, but I didn't have the money to reupholster it. But I wanted to sit in it again because it's actually my favorite chair. So what I did is I just threw a comforter over it for right now, so I can demonstrate it to you, because it spins a full 360, okay, all the way around, and it also slides back and forth. So obviously, if you have it up against the wall there, you know, it's not going to spin 360, but when you pull it out in the middle like this, you know, I can slide it around. Ingenious, man. That's all I can say about that. All right, let me talk about the book for a minute. No, let me talk about my website first. www.vangogh.com. Inc., like Van Gogh Incorporated, only it's not INC, it's INK, like printmaker, like okay, VANGOGH.INK. You can go right on there right now and order some fine art. Okay, everything on there is made in the Bay Area, printed in the Bay Area. It's through a company called Bay Photo, and the parent company that put this whole website, the thing together, is called Art Storefronts, and they're in Austin, Texas. And I'm here in Seattle, but I could just as easily be in Fundão, Portugal, and it would work just the same. You go online, you go, hey, I'm almost as broke as Rich is. Let me just get a T-shirt and put some of his art on it, and just drop $20 on that, you know. And you can pick any art of mine that you want on there, a photograph, a drawing, a painting, whatever. Put it on the T-shirt, select the size, the color, the design of the shirt, everything you want to do, and they will print it. When you pay for it, they actually send you the printed T-shirt right from the Bay Area right to your house. Okay, you don't have to talk to me or Art Storefronts or anybody else. Okay, Art Storefronts gets a taste of that money. Bay Photo gets the cost of the shirt, and you know, gets a profit on top of the product, and then I get what's left over, and it just goes right into my bank account. So I'll see, okay, looks like somebody bought something, and then I can send you a thank you note. Okay, so that's the website. Now, this book has nothing to do with the website, okay? But the book is amendment, the word amendment, the number 21, the dash symbol, and the letter A, Amendment 21-A. I published this in 2017, right before grad school. I started grad school in September of 2017 and wrapped that up right after, as COVID fucked up my senior year, fucked up my graduation, all of that. So I graduated with a mask on. Anyway, did you ever have a feeling that if you could change one thing, it would actually change the whole world? Well, I had that feeling, and this is that one thing. Prohibition. Only not prohibition on alcohol, prohibition on drugs. Okay, what if changing one thing could change the world? This is that one thing. Ending the war on drugs will be the single largest and most important change in the law in my lifetime. It will positively change the city you live in, the country you live in, and the world that we all live in. It's hard to even wrap your mind around the changes this will bring about until you read this book. I think about all the unnecessary pain and suffering this war brought to us all, and I'm just glad I was able to stop it. And my mantra is just say no, stand with Van Gogh against illegal prohibition. You see, I put that thought on the back of the book in 2016, 2017 when we published the book, and it still holds true today, okay? This book is going to be 10 years old next year. It's hard to get my mind around that. But anyway, that is one of my big missions in life, and I actually did my thesis on that and hand printed and hand published another book that only 13 copies of it exist in the world because it's handmade. And you know, when you think about when I was 12 in 1969, they were dealing drugs on my playground. Okay, when I was in 6th grade, I was the president of my student council, believe it or not. My hair was down to here, believe it or not. And I was straight edge, believe it or not. and I hadn't even had a beer yet, and I was wearing bell-bottom pants and paisley or pinstripe shirts and listening to Jimi Hendrix and the Doors and Janis Joplin and the Beatles and the Stones. A little red AM/FM radio cranked all the way up. There were so many people coming back from Vietnam in that year that they were forcing them to rehab before they could fly back into the U.S. because it didn't look good for the country that they send these young men and women to war and they come back strung out on heroin. Well, they say 1 out of 4 people that went to Vietnam had some encounter with heroin, some exposure to heroin. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it's really possible because at that time, that's where all the heroin came from. And it was pure and cheap. But I digress. Please get a copy of the book, read the book. You can get a Kindle for $5. And, if you don't like it, let me know. I'll give you the $5 back, But it makes sense. We need to legalize everything. And I know that might sound like a wild and crazy idea, but that's what they had to do with alcohol, right? It backfired on them. Okay, just like this backfired on them. Only the more I grow up and the older I get, and see how many things our country does and other countries do that are lying to us and bullshitting us, and they do things for the wrong reason. Like maybe it's intentional that drugs are still illegal so that they can support the industrial prison complex and support the gun violence and selling arms, and guns. I mean, not this kind of arm. Anyway, I could talk for hours about this, but I'm not going to. That's all I got to say about that for right now. But I'd like to go on a college tour, or some kind of tour, a book tour. And how do you like that? Tired since 1976. That's the year I graduated high school. This is a badass t-shirt, man. Look at the back of this. I mean, it's not my art, but that's a fucking killer shirt, isn't it? It's from a Goodwill somewhere. Pretty sure. I had a friend for a while that was just getting shirts for me. I have like 75 t-shirts right now. And that's not counting all the ones that I just had to discard because they were so, tattered. All right, let's get right into it. So the last time we talked, I was in Key West, and then, like the stars align, I fell in love with this woman who lived in Cape Coral, not Coral Gables, Cape Coral. Close to Coral Gables, but actually not. It's on the other side. It's on the Gulf side. And we decided, after seeing each other for a while, I was in Key West, and she would come down and visit me with her dogs. She had 3 greyhounds. And I would go up there and visit her, and she was, an amazing woman. And in fact, one of the things that she did was, and she was a victim of domestic violence. She had a bad husband. And she thought she was ready for a relationship, but she really wasn't. And so I gave up my house. I moved in with her. We decided we needed some space. I talked a little bit about this when I talked about the last, job in Naples. But that's what took me up, took me from, the Keys up to Naples, and then Cape Coral. Um, but one of the coolest things was that I applied for the job at Ringling Art School as a painting teacher, and I almost got that. If I'd had a master's degree, I would have got it. But I saw this ad for a sky cap at Sarasota Airport. Now, I don't know if many of you even know, if you're younger, a lot younger than me, if you're really young, you might not even know what a sky cap is. But before they started charging for luggage, there was a person that stood at the curb of the airport at every entry point for each airline, and they would take care of your luggage, get it on the plane for you, and give you baggage tickets, baggage claims for it, unless you wanted to take it into the desk yourself, which some people did, or some people, even way back when, would travel just with carry-on. But the sky cap was able to get as many bags as you wanted onto the plane. And of course, it was understood that you were going to tip the sky cap, and if you had a lot of bags, you were going to tip them a lot of money, because they were going to charge you like $50 a bag, you know what I mean, especially if they were overweight. I knew one guy that told me he used to take 17 bags. He was a traveling salesman, just straight to the sky cap. Well, like many things in my life, I got the job as a sky cap after they started charging for luggage. I mean, there were still a lot of people that don't want to move their bags one more inch from their car or their taxi or however they got to the airport. They just are going to give it to a sky cap regardless. Some places don't even have sky caps now, because they'll just make you take your bags inside, because they're going to charge you for them every bag, except for Southwest, and I think Southwest may even be charging now. But anyway, I got that job just at the wrong time. Although I did make okay money, it wasn't nothing like it used to be back in the day when the sky cap job was a fucking gold mine. Sky caps did not give up their jobs easily. Anyway, but one of the cool things was, like everything else, whether the job is good or bad, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's all, I'm just trying to survive and support myself. And you'll see that is the general thread through this whole thing, is that it's not easy being an artist. And if you're trying to figure out a career in life, I'm going to tell you right up front, don't do it. Unless you got a lot of mojo, you got people in the business, whether you want to be a singer, a dancer, a writer, a performer, a fine artist, a sculptor, a musician, don't do it. All my friends would kill me if I just left it like that. But I could count on all my fingers and toes my friends that made it big time. And when I say make it big time, I'm talking about the major leagues. I'm talking about the NFL or the World Series, okay? To use that as an analogy. I'm talking about getting your work not just in galleries, but in museum collections and private collections, and being, bought by wealthy celebrities and things like that, or having your work for sale at Christie's or Sotheby's. Okay, that's the big league. That's the major leagues. Now, I know a lot of people don't know a lot about art. That's okay too, because I like to share my art from the ghetto to the grandiose, okay? It's the same piece of art. I could do a piece of art right now and it could sell for $1,000. I was about to say I could sell it for $100, but I don't sell much for $100 anymore. But if I was, Banksy, I could sell that for $100,000. You see what I'm saying? There's a huge gap. So I like to tell people that I kind of made it to like AAA as an artist. Now, I'm only 68 years old. I'm still a youngin'. So I'm planning on being an ornery old son of a bitch and trying to make it to 100. So, don't write me off just yet. I got 31, 32 years or so left, if all goes as planned. Because I got too much invested in it now. How am I going to give up now? I can't give up now. That would be ridiculous. So I still make art. I never stop making art. I just have to spend a little bit of time making money other ways because my art doesn't fully support myself. I supported myself pretty well when I was in Key West, just selling my art. That's probably the most art I ever sold in one place was Key West. But my art is kind of touristy, you know what I mean? It kind of, I like to do paintings of classic bars and restaurants and hotels and things like that. I kind of pander to tourists. But I have a backup plan, and that's my cherry farm in Portugal. I bought that. It's not a cherry farm yet, it's a farm. I bought that 2 years ago. And no, 1 year ago. It'll be 2 years this coming fall. Yeah, that's right. It'll be 2 years old in fall. But my farm was abandoned for 50 years. And the other thing that I will tell you is that sometimes I get full-on social political on this channel too, because I'm also a social political artist and writer, and I talk about things that are social and political, like the war on drugs, okay? So that's one of the reasons I don't like or want anything to do with dictators. Like when Trump decides he wants to be a dictator and decides he wants to remain in office, like Putin, it's not a good, that doesn't work for me. And that's what Salazar did in Portugal, and he was there for 50, 60 years. I think 60 years, something like that. And he was his plan was so bad economically that most of the farmers couldn't survive being a farmer, and they just abandoned their farms, and all of the energy, all of the economy that he worked on was in the cities. So everybody moved to the cities, and a lot of farms were abandoned, and so half of my farm still has to be cleared. And it's I'm going to save all of the cork trees, because you're not allowed to cut them down. I'm going to save some olive trees, because I've already got a few olive trees and I don't need that many. And I'm going to cut the rest down and sell the wood or use the wood, but I'm going to just plant the rest of it with cherry trees. I've got enough space cleared and holes dug for 170 trees, so I'm going to go put them in the ground this fall. And then my goal is around 1,000 trees. And that'll provide me with a really comfortable lifestyle, okay? Because cherries sell for $5 a kilo wholesale. I mean, you can double that if you want to sell it retail, but I just want to grow them and sell them wholesale, real easy. They come right to your farm, pick them up, weigh them, give you a check. I mean, and you can make $250 a tree or $50 a tree, you know, depending on how mature the tree is and how good the weather was that year. You know, it fluctuates a lot, but $50,000 a year is more than enough money for me on top of my Social Security and, you know, art. But that's a comfortable lifestyle. Plus, I already own the farm outright. I own my house. I own Carl. So I don't need that much extra money coming in. But the real reason, what really got me going to Portugal in the beginning, was I was researching Portugal, and they legalized everything in the year 2000. So I discovered Portugal, a lot about Portugal, their culture and their mindset. But while I was learning about that, I also learned that all of these farms were available. And my farm also has a little stone house on it. It probably was never actually a house, but it's going to be a house for me. But it was probably just a agricultural building because it doesn't have any windows in it. But the farms have these beautiful stone buildings on it, you know, and I'm going to try and cover the whole thing with a greenhouse so that I can do indoor growing as well, not of the cherries, but of just of you know, indoor farm, you know, just as for my own produce. But and also just because I think it would be cool, and I could have an indoor swimming pool that would be heated, and you know, I'm kind of working on the architectural drawings for that now. Not that I'm an architect, but I can give my drawings to an architect and they can take it from there. In fact, they make these giant greenhouses in Belgium and in the Netherlands, and you could just buy the greenhouse and assemble it over top of this building, and then I just need to get a regular contractors to buff out the building and put in a kitchen and a bathroom, and then I can do all the rest myself. You know, a few bedrooms, and I can do all that carpentry stuff by myself. I just don't do wiring and plumbing. Not yet, anyway. What was I going to tell you? Oh, yeah. Right now, we got a situation where I'm going to plug Katie Fang. She's one of my favorite independent journalists. She's also a lawyer. And her her YouTube channel is, her last name is Fang, Phang. And she sued Todd Blanche. And you got to check her out because she is awesome. She's the first person to get it together enough to sue Todd Blanche. So she's forcing them to release the rest of the Epstein files. And I mean, we've only seen half of the Epstein files, and we've only seen the half that they wanted us to see. We didn't see anything. We've seen some things that have been leaked out that involves Trump, but they've redacted or held back most of the documents that include Trump, because people can try and tell you that they weren't really that friends for that long. They were best friends, okay, for like 10 years. Okay, especially they were best friends when Epstein was at his most pedophilous. So I'm going to just go out and tell you, I believe that Trump is a pedophile, a rapist, a pervert, and a fucked up human being, okay? Just to be blunt about it. Now, if you love Trump, that doesn't mean that I hate you. I think you're, you know, mistaken about what this man has to offer society. I know a lot of people think that he's the answer. I mean, he got 60 million votes, but I gotta tell you that he's not a real deep thinker. Okay, he doesn't believe in science. He doesn't even believe in climate change. I mean, that's got to tell you something right there. Anyway, check this out. How do you like that? Got an SP10 mini amp in my dashboard. And I'm going to mount that old Starcaster on my front grille. I just think that's going to be hysterical. Where that amp is now, there used to be a Motorola TV, a tube TV, because Carl's from 1991. He's pre-flat screen. I just think that's going to look great once I get it all trimmed in there with some nice wood. It's going to sound good too, because it's got a little hollow behind it. And there's actually a power cord back inside, so I don't even have to have the cord out there the way it is. You can just plug in, turn it on, and jam away. Got a microphone, or no, it's got headphones too, so if you want to play at night in the camp, you can. Yeah, I got to put some money into Carl. Carl needs power steering, and I want to trick him out, but all he needs to run is a battery and power steering, and I want to redo all the batteries, because he's got a couple batteries for the interior. He's got an Onan generator on board, which I've never even run, and I have a giant generator that I can actually include in Carl if I wanted to, but the generator that's on board would probably do it. And then, of course, most of the places that I'm going to go and camp, I can just plug in, hook up to the septic, hook up to a garden hose for water, and run that through the filter. Carl's a badass little motorhome. I'm really looking forward to going to the Olympic National Rainforest this summer. I just got to throw some money in Carl, and thank God the winter is over. First day of summer, a couple days back. And, I hope you all enjoying Travels with Carl. Like I said, I could really use some help if anybody's good at marketing, and I don't need anybody to edit or make the YouTubes. I got that under control. What I need is help with marketing and with tying together my Instagram, my website, my Facebook, and my YouTube channel, because I've got a lot of followers. I got like 4,000 followers on Facebook. I've just got like nobody following me on Travels with Carl. Well, I got like 50 people or something. Katie Fang is looking at like 70,000. But yeah, I meant to finish that thought. Check her out, because she is a badass woman and a great lawyer and a great reporter. And, until I see you next time, I'll just say, have fun out there, and let's ride, baby. Let's ride.
Surrounded by the beast, the birds and the breeze, his motor home in the woods where creativity seems. Sun will of bold colors come alive on canvas. He paints, expressing all his strife with the spirits of the woods. He dances in delight, creating masterpieces every single